Welcome back, listeners. I'm Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. Today we have a guest with us, Miss Natasha, and we're going to be speaking about when you're looking for connection. And Natasha, I just want to hear your story. How are you today?
Today is a good day, and I've learned how to find the silver lining in all my days now. And a funny pundit is that my middle name now is Silver because
Mhm.
that was my married name, but my maiden name is Bell. So when I had the strength to leave the father of my children, which we can get into today if you'd like, um, I got the Bell back. So now it rings true because before it was Bell Silver, and now
Mhm.
it's Silver Bell. And I really like that because I loved my time when I had so much adversity for 13 years, and now I've had 13 years of healing. So it's
Mhm.
really equaled out. I'm in my next third cycle of 13 years of growth. So with that, I'd love to just open this up to whatever you feel is best for your audience.
I like that. So tell us a little bit about the 13 years of adversity. What was that like?
I'm in recovery from substances and alcohol and a DV survivor. And I had disordered eating. I had a lot of things that I was trying to control in my life because I
Mhm.
felt so out of control. I had no control. And I think one of the unspoken pieces, and I remember on Oprah, like, was it 15 years ago when Rihanna was talking about what abuse looks like? It starts out as control and
Mhm.
being controlling, and I didn't know that. I was made to be a good girl,
Mhm.
spoken to, "Yes, ma'am," "No, thank you, sir." And so when I was obeying someone or listening to them or following in line, that felt like the right thing to do, and I didn't see the controlling behavior as problematic, and so I ended up trying to look and grab things around me in my life that I could control, like my feelings. So if I just drank alcohol or I had substances or I controlled my food, then I was okay. Well,
Mhm.
that doesn't really work for someone like me. So I don't know if that lands for you or anyone listening. I'm happy to explore what that means if you'd like.
Absolutely. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. So what happened? So by God's grace, my company has built me over the 13 years of the healing journey after that adversity. But I help people leave toxic marriages or domestic violence situations. We just started a foundation for DV survivors where the moms do. I do ask that the moms remain sober to receive the funding, but it's really scary to wake up after I had my three children. I was able to stay sober during their pregnancies, but not so much after I gave birth to them.
Mhm.
It was really hard. I could do it if something else was my purpose, not me. So when
Right.
I finally, had my 3 children, I started to get sober for me, and I woke up and I realized, like, how am I gonna be able to stay sober now that I'm a mom? Because I thought, "Well, I'm a mom now, I can drink and use safely." Well, that
Mhm.
was magical thinking, and I, ended up driving my kids in blackouts. I put them in harm's way, and I realized that I had to change the environment that I lived in order to maintain my sobriety, and for a good Midwest farm girl where I'm from Montana, like, to leave a financially comfortable lifestyle that I had married into with my 3 babies, like, what right did I have? Where was I gonna go? What was I going to do? And Natasha, who do you think you are? I mean, the brain games that played in my mind were exhausting and keeping me there, and I knew if I stayed, I would continue to drink and use to make it feel okay. Um, and so by being able to maintain my sobriety for about 2 years while still married, I then was able to have the strength to walk with the 3 children, and by God's grace, we got divorced in 3 months. I was able to rebuild my life, but that getting sober is scary, but walking away from a comfortable lifestyle with 3 small babies and no man waiting for me on the other side, no job, no money, no cash and prizes. I think for me and what I've experienced in my work with others, our biggest fears in life are the fear of being alone, right? And the fear of financial insecurity. And when you are able to walk through, I call it that baptism by fire, and just faith over fear, because I just knew I couldn't stay. I just couldn't stay. But it was like, I don't know where I'm going, Lord, but let's just figure it out, and complete surrender every day.
I like that. And then when you said you had to change your environment, because I know it seems like often we try to tell ourselves when we're in that state of being or in that state of mind that we can heal where we were once broken. But it's definitely about changing your scenery, changing that environment. That way you can. And that change, it can seem extremely, extremely scary. So when did you start gifting to yourself, since it seems that you gift to everyone else? When did you start giving to yourself?
Oh, you're gonna make me cry now. I'm still having a great day, right? You know, you got to cry, laugh, and every day. That takes me back to the first time I tried to enter recovery, which was like 21 years ago. My eldest is 21, and he was 13 months old, and he's almost 22. And I was in the 12-step program, and I was speaking to a woman who would be my sponsor. And although I was raised in like this devout Christian, lovely, I had really run. I have like a prodigal son journey. I think we all do to some extent.
Mhm.
And and so I had a foundation, thank you, mom and dad. But I really rebelled. And when I sat in New York City with this person who she was attempting to sponsor me if I would let her, she said, "So what are you going to do today for yourself?"
Mhm.
And it was like, I'm sorry, come again?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that right. And that's how powerful darkness, um, getting enmeshed in the substances and that lifestyle or what have you, it can take you like a thief in the night so fast, like a hostage. You don't think you have any rights. I believe in Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, I I didn't what do you mean, what am I'm still like, I know that I do things for myself now. I went to yoga, like I did some self-care, mindfulness stuff. I do buy myself nice things now, but that mindset that I had the right to do something for myself, the fear just like a lightning rod rippled through my body that I was going to get found out, that I wasn't listening to him, or I didn't check in with him, or why didn't I come home sooner, or where was I? So,
Mhm.
wow, you just shot me back. So it was slow. Took 20
Yeah.
years to get where I am now.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what a lot of us struggle with is the process. I can't
Mhm,
even say time because it's not about time at all, really. It's really honestly about alignment and aligning that, because healing, it's far from linear, right? It's never going to just go in a straight line. It's going to have its ups and downs. You might fall back, you might do this. It's about the will to just keep going no matter how many times we end up falling back or we feel like we're giving up. It's not about giving up. It's just that's the process of healing. And you're going to go through so many ups and downs of healing. And the fact that you're saying that it's taking you 20 years is phenomenal, because one, it definitely shows your strength,
mhm.
and it shows that you never gave up. And what kept pushing you along for that 20 years?
Um, wow, what a profound question. And I'm just, yes, yes, yes to everything you're saying. It's the will to keep going, that desire. I was just talking to some friends yesterday, and in the 12-step rooms, they say, you're welcome to come here if you have a desire to stop drinking. Thank
Mhm.
goodness they say that you don't have to stop, because you need support, and you've got to be around solution to hear the answers or hear the solution and see it. And then it creates that desire and that motivation to want to continue to want to get better, because we have flickers of willingness, right? Flickers of hope. We work with Deb Dana now. She has helped found the Polyvagal Institute. It has to do with our vagus nerve and our nervous system, the science behind it. That's how our coaching model is trained today. And she calls them glimmers. Some
Mhm.
people call them God shots or God winks. But you get these moments of like epiphanies, and then you're like, well, how do I hold on to that? How do I, like you said, keep going?
Mhm.
You need life rafts, you need support. And so Um, Certainly exposing myself to other people who've gone before me and watched them. So if I didn't have faith, 'cause at the time, although God and I maybe I believed there was a God out there, but, like, that's for other people who deserve him, not me. And
Hmm.
so I didn't have faith way, way back, and I remember people saying, "Well, you can borrow my faith until you have enough of your own."
Yeah.
And I needed that, and so I would say just by that's why we never know who we're gonna affect, whether we're in the grocery store, the gas station, the car wash, how someone holds the door extra for you. Like, those little things in my early recovery were like, "Oh, I'm seen. Someone held the door for me," or someone paused an extra smile, and it wasn't weird or creepy, you know?
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think hope that answers your question.
it definitely does. But what I can say is, I know there's a lot of people who are in a place right now where they feel that they're undeserving of God, of they're undeserving of his grace, his mercy, because his mercy and grace, it always is giving and forgiving every single day. But
Mhm.
what I like to tell others, and even have to continue to tell myself, is when, because I know with me in my journey, it was extremely hard because I felt that I didn't have anyone. So you have that feeling of, I have to be my own hero. I have to pull myself out of this because I don't feel that I have anyone that I can speak to. And when you're like a self healer, it seems so much harder because you take this unconventional road through life that you're looking around, you're like, no one else is taking this. Why is it me that only has to go through this? And I, through my journey, I finally found that it's not about why me. Why is this? Why is this happening to me? Why is this the life for me? It's about finding purpose in it. And when you find that purpose, you realize that my purpose is to help others. That's what we're here for. There's somebody out there that has to hear the words that I'm saying that's actually going to resonate with them, because it's God who speaks through me. God uses me as that vessel, and he creates these connections so strategically for that specific reason. That's the same reason why you and I connected. It's there's people out there and certain individuals that need to hear your story, and just by hearing your voice, just hearing the sound of your voice, it's going to make them take that pause for a second and say, I need to listen to this. And
That
that's why, that's how we know that we're here for each other.
Amen. I was just gonna say that pause is so powerful. That's one
Mhm.
of my takeaways when I'll share a story or hope. I want people to, yes, to resonate and identify, feel validated and heard, but what can
Mhm.
they walk away with? The power of the pause. What
Yes.
is that? And that's that polyvagal theory. Can I pause long enough to do a body scan? Can I check in with my nervous system? Where am I? What
Hmm.
landed for me? Why? Why am I drawn to this? Why am I trying to get away from this person, place, or thing? Like pay attention to yourself. Your body's really smart.
Yes. Yes. And your body's going to follow that energy where it needs to go, whether it's the good energy or the bad energy.
Mm.
It's going to follow that. And I think it's also good to know that we all have that sinful nature as well as a spiritual nature. So we're going to have bad days, we're going to have good days, we're going to do wrong, and we're going to do really well. It's about balancing it out, and it's about choice. It's about having that opportunity to make that choice. And
Mm,
that's what God gives all of us, is the opportunity.
exactly. And figuring out when you say that opportunity to choose, that's so powerful because there's so many times we don't even know the choices we're making, like
Mhm.
myself. I didn't think, and I didn't know to think. So how did
Mhm.
I learn how to choose rightly, shall we say, right? And
Mhm.
there was, as I developed a relationship with first a higher power, where it was no one was telling me what to believe, so I had a baseline, like a beta test of that organic desire to find the truth. And
Mhm.
I love the way that I have come back to Christ, and it's been in a way where no one's telling me what to believe. It's a conflict. It's a conviction of consciousness. The Holy Spirit really ministers to you so that little bit by little bit, you don't want to be doing X, Y, and Z anymore. Like you couldn't even get me to go out to a club now if like people were begging. Like I'm just, hey, have a great time. I'll see you for lunch tomorrow, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
There's other ways I can connect with people who are of value if they value the time I spend with them. So learning how to navigate away from one social dynamic without putting it down because other people are at different stages.
Mhm.
And there's no judgment on that. I'm
Yeah.
just making a conscious choice to move in another energetic direction, like you said.
Yes. And so you said you're on your third 13th year. What was going on in that second round of that 13 years?
Yeah, that was the building time. That was the building time. I was in a state of survival. I had just walked away from security, and I had my 3 children, and I did take a year to heal. I was given that grace so that I could provide for my children for that year and then figure out how to create financial stability for myself. And in that time of healing, I was of service to as many women as I could
Mhm.
because that's just my natural desire. I think human nature's desire is to be of service, is what can I do for someone else? And it helped me heal by
Mhm.
healing others and working with others. Um, and then my company kind of started to form around me in a sense. And I worked with great clinicians and advisors who we created the model that I have today still. We do in-home forensic support for people who keep relapsing out of treatment or, keep going into psych wards. These are stories that they don't like one time in rehab isn't going to work, right? That's just a beginning. And what else can you do? Because once you come out of a treatment center, you need to find a way to be stabilized consistently in your lifestyle of choosing whatever that is. So we help set people up for success and hold them accountable to their goals. And that's what we do today. But it mostly, besides that happening around me, God just saying, I'm going to do this. I said, okay. And I'm going to go over here. Is my kids. Just being there for my kids was the biggest piece. I tried to really balance that as much as I could.
And what is the name of your company?
It's called Silverbellglobal.
Mhm.
Yep, we've been pulled into many different countries now. And it used to be called Silverbell Coaching. And then we changed it to Global a few years ago.
Nice. And so what exactly does your company do for others?
Right. So let's say we get some inquiries every day and we have an admissions team and we discern if we're the right fit first and foremost. I'm not the right fit for every call.
Mhm.
I'll refer them to different treatment centers, I'll refer them to different practices or clinicians or doctors or assessments that need to be done. Usually it's a family member that calls in crisis or a crisis has just finished or they want to prevent the next one or help mitigate. So we assess if we're the right fit, and then we'll put a team together, a lead case manager, a therapeutic companion trained in this polyvagal approach, so that we
Mhm.
can help our client regulate their nervous system. Because in the end, forget the drugs, the eating disorders, the self harm, whatever it is, the OCD behavior that's crippling. Um,
Mhm.
they have to really learn how to manage their emotions. And all the talking in the world, talk therapy has a place,
Mhm.
but it's in the everyday. How do you go to the grocery store? How do you show up when your phone's blowing up? How do you manage that incoming excessiveness and not get activated to a state of dysregulation so you can't function?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're really doing, this co-regulation. So most people in my company, these therapeutic companions, have the lived experience like me,
Mhm.
and they are modeling the way out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. So your company is almost like a form of therapy as well.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then at what point in the process are you able to help individuals? Like, are they individuals whom are going through withdrawals? Are they detoxing? Like, where are they at in their stage of life?
It's a good question. So most of the time, we prefer people to go through their own detox process at a facility that will help select them, help them hold them accountable, put a treatment team together. If they come out fresh out of detox to us, that's often.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, they'll need to go into another 30, 60, or 90-day, treatment model, and we're there supporting the family on the outside. So when
Mhm.
the loved one comes out of treatment, everyone's kind of up to speed on the therapeutic process and their part in the
Mhm.
family system, so that we don't have to repeat that cycle again. Because usually people come to me who've repeated treatments and detoxes many, many, many times. And we don't want to, we're the last stop on the bus route. I don't want to be here again.
Right. Got you. I understand. And so I would say that there's a lot of success that comes from that. Does
There
that
is.
make you feel better?
Yes. There is,
Yeah.
when people are willing to learn and grow, and that means all the family members. Even if I
Mhm.
have a 45-year-old father or a
Mhm.
62-year-old mother as the identified patient, we still have
Mhm.
adult children that were, or spouses that are a part of that family system. It's not always just the younger, like 15 to 30-year-olds that we're working with.
Yeah. But that to be able to be a part of that, that has to be uplifting and therapeutic for yourself as
Yeah.
well.
I love what I do. They say, you'll never work another day in your life or something if you do what you love, you know.
Mhm. I like that. I do. I like that a lot. So, and you said you're currently in the third 13 years. So, what's this one consist of?
This site, that's exciting. I'm doing podcasts now where I didn't really the first 13 years of my company's growth. And now, because I've been asked to invest in other behavioral health startups, because I see where the market is lacking. I see where the holes are, and that's what my company did.
Mhm.
So we fill all those gaps in between inpatient and outpatient to help hold people accountable not to have that revolving door. And
Mhm.
I see what is missing, because we do. It's still the number one killer in our nation for people 50 and under.
Mhm.
Accidental overdose. Like,
Yeah.
come on, we're still there. So there's a lot of work in psychoeducation. That's why my voice getting out there, carrying this message that you're not alone. You haven't done anything wrong if your child ends up as a mom. You have, but if you're listening to this and this is landing for you, then you can come to our website. We have a lot of great resources, and learn about how maybe just even regulating your nervous system as a parent can help your child heal.
Yeah. And then, as far as being a single mother and being able to grow this company and start this company, what was that like?
It was hard. I didn't get it
Yeah.
right. I messed up all along the way, I wanna be honest. My kids remind me a lot, although they call me every day, they talk to me every day. To me, that's the win, you
Mhm.
know? And, they've all done their own therapy. They willingly have said, "I want a little extra support." It wasn't easy. Uh,
Mhm.
I was gone more than I wanted to be. My kids all understand it now. In fact, if they ask me for, my son needed a new computer recently. He's like, "Mom, it's so much money. I don't want to ask you." I said, "Sam, God has been good. I can afford it." And he respects how hard I work. To me, I'm not going to hold that over his head. Well, I got you a computer. No, I want to give you, it's like when, what is that scripture? When, if you ask God for your father for um, I don't know, a field or a home or something, would he give it a serpent or a stick, right? I
Mhm.
want to bless my children. I want to help my children. But to me, the beauty is they understand the value and the hard work that I put into obtain the resources to get where I am today. To me,
Absolutely.
that's the win.
Yeah. I like that. I really like that a lot. And I know you spoke a little bit on domestic violence, and I know for some who are in that situation, they're ashamed to be in that situation. And what advice would you like to give them in regard to not being ashamed?
Well, that's going to be hard. The shame will be there for a while. But if you're listening and you haven't hung up yet, right? And you're still playing and listening to us, here's how I found my way out. As isolated as I was controlled, and I was told who my friends could be and who I could talk to and who I couldn't talk to. Every now and then I would allow, or God would allow, an opening of a really true friend. And I remember this one friend, in fact, I was just speaking to her the other day. We hadn't spoken in a while, but 20 years ago, when I was really in it, she somehow got through to me on the phone before cell phones, or I didn't have one.
Mhm.
She said, I was telling her how great everything was, right? I was just smoke and mirrors. "Oh, it's
Mhm.
great, I'm good." Like, she goes, "Okay, Natasha, just don't lie to yourself."
Mhm.
Ooh, I got mad at her. I wanted to throw the phone and tell her to go F herself.
Yeah.
But man, did that land. I was
Mhm.
sober-minded enough to hear it. it was like a bullet in my gut. She was right. I was lying to myself. I wasn't lying to her. She
Mhm.
didn't take on my malarkey. And so my advice to people listening to this is go see that one friend. Call that one friend you know that's going to call you out, hopefully lovingly, uh,
Mhm.
and tell you what time it is in the most beautiful way. And just remember that they care about you. And it's up to you to make to you what you said, the choices. But you
Mhm.
have to surround yourself with people who see you for who you are and what is. So that's that. And that was scary. Taking that phone call and holding that awakening in me was really scary because that meant I had to create some change and I to get away from that feeling, right? That feeling was going to haunt me because it was true.
Mhm.
So I don't hope that
Yeah,
was helping someone.
I do. I like that because when truth, it hurts
Mm,
because we take it as an inconvenience because we know that truth we're going to have to put in work, and sometimes that's why we lie to ourselves, because sometimes it's easier to believe a lie than it is the truth, because the lie is where our comfortability lies. And when we're uncomfortable, we're like, oh gosh, this is going to take too much work. I like a microwavable approach. I just want to hurry up and get there. Right. Yeah. So it's like,
totally. That's where the drugs and the alcohol. Great. I'll
yeah,
just take this away. No big deal.
right. Exactly. And that's, wow, it's very profound what you
Mhm.
do, and the strength that you have is absolutely phenomenal, and I greatly appreciate you for that, and I appreciate you speaking with us today. Um, if there is anything that you can give, any piece of advice that you can give to anyone that's struggling, what would it be?
Well, the power of the pause. If you have a moment in time where you can just go for a walk, even if it's 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes around the block, go for a walk and have a meeting with yourself and just talk to yourself. How am I doing? If you have a relationship with a higher power or God, check in. And after you ask how you're doing, let him minister to you, let him talk to you. Allow that space to come in because he'll give you the answers if you're really ready to hear them. And then if you don't have time or space for the power of the pause, because life is crazy and busy, but you do have a good friend like I just spoke about, make time to be around those true friends or family that will love you and support you and see you for where you're at versus what you want them to see.
I like that, and I would actually add to that, as in measurable progress, because I know often you see where people, they measure, a swimming distance if you're on a swim team, or if you're, in class, in gym class, you measure your high jump, you measure these things, these sports, but you don't measure your own life. Where am I in life? It's about making measurable progress and saying, okay, I did this today, but it is still better than what I did
That's
last
right.
week.
Baby
Yeah.
steps, baby steps, baby steps. In fact, Deb Dana, who created the polyvagal theory with Stephen Porges, she'll often say, if I can get a patient, she's a really great clinician, just who could sit with the power of the pause and do a body scan and check in from 2 seconds to 5 seconds.
Mhm.
Oh, and that might take 6 months.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Just
Yes.
they even recognize that they need to pause, and that for me was slowing down after I
Yeah.
got divorced, just long enough to really check in with myself. But it was surrounding myself with people who um, encouraged me to be honest with myself was the biggest catalyst to leaving the marriage.
Yes. I like that. I like that so much. And I have just really enjoyed speaking with you. Is there anything else that you can add that maybe we didn't discuss?
I think what you're doing is incredible, and whatever I can do to support your work in any way, it's beautiful to meet your soul.
Thank you. And likewise, I feel exactly the same. But and how, so is Silver Bell Global, is that your only website, or is there another way that others can get in touch with you?
I mean, I'm on Instagram, Natasha Silver Bell, and LinkedIn are my two platforms that you could message me on. But if you want an inquiry, we do 30-minute consultations as a courtesy, always in our company. Um, it's inquiry at Silverbellglobal on the website. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you, Natasha, for your time. Again, this is Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. Everyone, stay blessed.